Cyberpunk 2077 was announced back in 2012 when a bunch of us were in schools and some others in colleges, and finally it came out when most of us are literally in another phase of our lives. It has been a wait of 8 years for some of the gamers and fresh news for folks who just started hearing the hype about the game recently. Gamers across the world are intrigued whether the next benchmark in gaming RPGs would be called Night City. Let's find some answers. Hello gamers, this is Rakesh. Welcome to RAD, the place you come to know more about your favorite games, related technology and computers.
Maybe we'll fit together after all.
Now before I begin, I have to confess that I am almost just 35 to 40 hours into the game and have still a lot more to explore around the city. But I have explored enough to help you decide if Cyberpunk 2077 is a game for you. Besides, I felt this is the best time to push this out as I see many people still groping in the dark about why Cyberpunk, what is the hype about, why is this game so important. On that note, let's go to the game.
Do whatever it takes to stop them, defeat them, gut them.
Cyberpunk 2077 is a first-person shooter RPG game set in a futuristic metropolis called Night City, where you play the character V, who is a mercenary looking to move up in the world.
Not just any other city.
As you begin, you are immediately bombarded with a lot of customization options on the character and 3 life paths to choose from. Now these life paths contradict each other in story and they open up a lot of different choices through conversations and mission options with dialogue choices and decisions to make.
That a nomad vehicle? Might have expected that.
In my opinion, some of them play out impactful, while others you feel it's there because it has to, without really leaving much of an impression. A lot of hype surrounding Cyberpunk comes from Witcher 3, which was a huge success among casual gamers and hardcore RPG fans. Cyberpunk has put on a futuristic skin on some of the mechanics from Witcher 3 and tried to enhance it further.
Fine, I'll get your goat.
Now games like Witcher 3, Mass Effect and even the new Assassin's Creed titles owe a lot of its success to the side missions in them. We sometimes remember these side missions more than the main missions, and Cyberpunk is not so different in that sense. Side missions are not just for the XP grind or in-game currency which you can spend in a lot of stuff, but you come across a lot of believable characters and some close to heart moments which fill in a lot of gaps in the main storyline, which really compels you to play through them. And let me be very clear, the choices you make matter.
Welcome to Night City.
Night City is a spectacular place to explore, and you might not get enough of exploring every nook and corner of this city. It's teeming with life and neon glows, and you will be surprised how detailed everything around you is. Having said that, there are some parts of the city that looks duplicated with minor tweaks to cover it up. But when you set out to make something so vast and ambitious, I guess they can be ignored. On a personal note, I feel the NPC should have been improved because there is nothing much going on between you and the world, and sometimes you feel like you want something more.
Oh, hey there.
Now I am running the game on an 8th Gen Intel i7 and a 3080 graphics card with RTX Ultra settings on a 2K display. The visuals are so captivating that you just cruise around slowly, breathing in the sights and just admiring the city. Special credit goes for the background score and the voice acting in the game because getting it done at a scale this huge is quite a feat. Full points for that.
If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it.
Part of the hype was having Keanu Reeves in the game, and it is well justified. The relationship between his character Johnny Silverhand and our character is key to the entire story arc. Speaking of the story, it's pretty short. Compared to open world RPG standards, around 20 to 25 hours if you are going through the main missions alone. But you can easily add up around 100 to 200 hours to it if you are the kind of person who would want to finish off every side quest, gigs, activities and collections in the game. Not just that, but all of these secondary objectives have a huge impact on the main storyline, and the endings are impacted considerably with the amount of time you invest in the game.
I appreciate the honesty.
Character building can be considered as an important aspect of Cyberpunk. There are attribute and perk points, and you can spend your attribute points upgrading your character and perk points to buy passive skills or even some very cool moves. As you use the same skill repeatedly, you level up that individual skill and get extra layer of perk points to further make your character unique. The freedom of choice is great to experience, although some aspects of it seemed a bit shallow to me. For example, there are scenarios where you can finish off missions in full stealth or not even by firing a bullet, which adds to the character of the game, but a lot of skill points spent on some gun and damage amplification skill trees feel like wasted.
You better gear up for this.
There is a wide variety of weapons to choose from, and you can play out scenarios in stealth or go all guns blazing, and the game will reward you accordingly. They have given special attention to crafting and upgrading weapons, probably picked that from the Assassin's Creed mechanism I guess. You get to play around with a variety of guns and melee weapons when things go loud, or you could simply pick out your enemies, use skills from your Cybertech to disable, distract and damage. It's really up to you to plan and execute, and the freedom offered is amazing. You can further make your character strong with implants and cybernetic augmentations and gain cool bonuses like shoot through walls or bounce bullets off surfaces and even have retractable blades coming out of your arm. All of it looks very cool.
You are a horrible person.
There are millions of things you can pick up from Night City World, like weapons and crafting materials and of course consumables, which can be used for limited time buffs like health regen, movement speed and even stamina buffs. I expected something as complex as the potions in Witcher, where you can customize your buffs, but surprisingly that was not seen. There are a lot of fun vehicles and bikes to drive around, and this coming from CD Projekt Red, who has never done any kind of racing or driving games till now. It was a welcoming surprise for me. Now in an Easter egg in Witcher 3, a time traveler Ciri talks about her visit to the cyberpunk world, and she talks about flying ships.
People there had metal in their heads, waged war from a distance, using things similar to megascopes, and there were no horses. Everyone had their own flying ship instead.
There are no vehicles in Cyberpunk 2077 that you can fly.
I got a real bad feeling about this.
Now let's talk about bugs. Cyberpunk has taken a lot of battering from many reviewers for the bugs in the game. I have personally encountered certain passable and some experience killing level of bugs like saves crashing in game, floating characters, cars going through cars, and even some scenarios of AI getting stuck. There was bugs with mirror reflections, textures loading slow, character walking through walls, and even invisible barriers which made things act weird. These are not game killing issues, but yes, they do kill the experience at times. There were 2 sets of patches already on PC, and I'm expecting a lot more to come in the coming days. Finally, I would like to say that the game was announced at a time when some of the technologies that exist today were absent, and the 8-year development time is somewhat justified at that front. I played Witcher 3 when it came out first, and it had its share of bugs and performance issues back then, which took around 2 years to be ironed out and made perfect. This can be the case with Cyberpunk 2077 too. For people who have picked it up already, I would recommend to play it slow and enjoy the sights until the bugs are fixed, and I envy those of you who haven't picked it up yet, because you guys can wait and get it on a better deal, glitch free, and get the full first experience out of this game. This is not the next benchmark of gaming industry, but it is definitely the game which showcases how much gaming has grown over the last decade and how it is inspiring us to live and experience stories in a fantasy non-existent world the best possible way we can. Thank you guys for watching. If you are happy with the review, feel free to give us a thumbs up. But before I leave, I will leave you guys with a little trivia. On the screen is a well-known personality in the gaming industry who appears as an Easter egg cameo in Cyberpunk. Identify this person and tell me his name, and comment in the section below with your email address. Let's see how many of you know you're gaming, and no cheating by the way. If you wish to see your favorite games reviewed, subscribe to RAD.